Welcome to the Killer Innovation Show, the longest continuously produced podcast in history. Each week, Phil McKinney brings you the insights and strategies to amplify your creativity and innovation skills. Here's your host, Phil McKinney.
Welcome to today's show. How are you doing? It's been a crazy week around here. Lots going on. We're actually getting ready to head back out on the road in the bus. We will be heading to the southeast, and we'll be there bouncing around down there for about a month or so. I did want to let you know about an upcoming event we have Labor Day week. We are currently planning to be in Richardson, Texas. This is in support. We will be doing recordings of entrepreneurs and CEOs in the Richardson, Texas area that are part of the Richardson Innovation Quarter. It's an area within Richardson, Texas, where they are encouraging startup companies, universities, all coming together to really spark a new level of innovation. We will be there pretty much the entire week. Timed with that event in Richardson is also Richardson's hosting a one-week event around autism. And as many of you know, I am the chairman of the board of Hacking Autism over at hackingautism.org. And so with that, we are combining two activities. We are looking to run a hackathon in Richardson with Hacking Autism on both technology, employment, and therapy, but also to interview startup companies and university leaders and et cetera. So stay tuned. That is the first week of September. If you happen to be in the area or you want to come to Richardson to be a part of that, we will be posting information both on our social media page and in other places. So stay tuned and we'll give you more information as we get closer to that. So let's talk about today's show. Today's show is around the common fear that a lot of innovators have, which is that they're going to run out of ideas. That they've only got a certain number of ideas that they can come up with, are really great ideas, and therefore then they got to be very judicious. They got to be very careful and protect them and polish them up. And once they've run through their total allotment of ideas, then they're done. They're tapped out. That's it. There's no more. Well, that's false. Fundamentally, it is false. There's a two-step process to tap into an unlimited source of ideas. An unlimited. I mean, you will never strike bottom. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's show. So you're going to want to listen to the show all the way to the end to find out what those two-step process is so that you don't have to be afraid of ever running out of ideas. So with that, before we hop into today's show, I've got a simple ask for you to like, share, and follow. So like the show. Wherever you're watching this at, give us a thumbs up, whatever, or post a comment, let people know, because you sharing a review on Apple Podcast or Google or iHeart or Spotify or wherever you're listening to this show at, that helps spread the word. Share it if you've got somebody who you think could benefit from the content for today's show. Copy the link and send it over to them. That would be greatly appreciated. And follow us on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Just search for Phil McKinney. We're there. In 99% of the cases, it's just Phil McKinney with no space. So follow. And that's where I do a lot of my communication in between the shows and post things about events that we are hosting and that we will be doing. So with that, I'm going to get out of the way here and let's jump into this week's episode. When I'm out and about and I run into fellow innovators, they want to share what they think is the idea that they have in their portfolio. They want to share, the ideas, maybe get some advice on how to take that idea and take it forward. Now, in many cases, they came up with this idea sometime before, a year, 2 years, some 5 or even 10 years before. And they believe it is the pinnacle of ideas, the ultimate idea. And they've been protecting it and polishing it and working on it. And they are afraid that they will never come up with an idea as good as this one. Now they may be working on some other little ideas, but they go, "But this is my big idea, and I've got this, and I've been working on it for an incredibly long time, and this is something that is just the pinnacle of ideas." They believe that they will only get one of these ideas in a lifetime, and they love this idea. And in fact, I would argue that they're loving that idea almost to death. Now, does this sound familiar? Do you have one of those ideas? That idea that you have gotten and you're just mind blowing, like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. This is going to change the world. This is, wow, this is my one idea for my entire career, my entire lifetime. Be honest. Are you kind of in that category? Do you have one of those ideas hidden away, tucked away someplace? Now I know I was there early in my career when I came up with my first idea that came up with the first one that came up with an award-winning best product award. And I've won multiples of these best product awards, but that first one, when I came up with that idea and I turned it into an innovation and it became a best product award winner, I'm thinking, okay, boom, stamped, I'm done. Step back, fold my arms, because I'm never going to come up with as good of an idea. But remember, ideas by themselves are of little to no value. Having an idea, okay, you got to start with something. They are the sparks that, with the right effort and the right support, can turn into a game-changing innovation. But it's not just the idea. You got to get the timing right. You got to have resourcing. You got to have the right support. The market's got to be. There's a lot of things that have all got to come together. So having that idea that you think is just absolutely mind-blowing, but not doing anything else, interesting, but of little value. You've got, ideas have to be executed on. They need to be turned into innovation. So the idea that you keep tucked away, no value. If you're hiding it, you're hoarding it, like it's my idea, it's my killer idea, and if I show it with anybody else, they're going to steal it, so I got to keep it, right? And in some cases, people would call you an idea hoarder. You're keeping it for yourself. What's the why do hoarders become hoarders, right? If you've seen any of the TV shows where they're going in and people's houses are stacked up, is because they don't want to lose it. They got to keep that thing, so they got to find some place to stuck it. Then they get something else, and they got to keep it. And is your idea notebook? Is your brain taken over by hoarding of ideas, not doing anything with them, not sending them out? Now, as I dig in and ask questions of these innovators, as I try to figure out why people get so wrapped up on having like this one pinnacle idea, is I discovered that what is the underlying issue here is that they're afraid that they've only got a limited number of ideas, of really great ideas. They only have a limited number. I get one a lifetime or one a career. That's the one idea I got. And I got to hold on to it. That's my idea. I got to hold on to it. So they don't want to share it. They don't want to get others on board. They don't want to reveal it because it's such a great idea that if anybody else sees it, they'll steal it. Now let's drill in on this fear of running out of ideas. The fundamental fear is that once you've come up with this really great idea that becomes potentially a really game-changing idea, then you're done. Like I said, I've had my first big idea that turned into an award-winning product. I'm like, woo, ring the bell, I'm done. Yep, okay, time to go into the rocking chair. No, right? You think you're done, and that you think it will never happen again. And that is absolutely wrong. Wrong. Think about it. How many ideas did Thomas Edison come up with that became game-changing innovations? Or Nikola Tesla? Or Elon Musk? Right? They came up with tens, if not hundreds of ideas that changed our lives, right? Now, I know what you're saying. You're going, yeah, Phil, but they're special. Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, Elon Musk, they're special. I'm not them. They may get tens of ideas. I'm lucky if I come up with one idea. Wrong. We are all able to innovate ideas multiple times over our career, multiple award-winning, multiple game-changing ideas. It is not a one and done. We have an unlimited supply of ideas that we can generate. Each one of us can generate. Let me share with you my own experience. So, first real job, and I've shared with this on the show. Go back. There's one show where I talk about how I got trained to be an entrepreneur. So you can hear about my career progression that got me to a startup that was my first IPO. But I started off in training, developing computer-based training. So you sit on the screen and you get trained like how to use applications or how to use a PC. And this was back in the very early days of the PC. And I did that for two companies, a company called Deltac, which was purchased by Pinnacle Publishing, and Individual Software, which still exists out of Pleasanton, California. And I did products. And that was actually at Individual Software was my very first product that became an award-winning product. And a product some of you may have even used, a product called Typing Instructor. And then left and worked at a consulting company called Corporate Resource Associates. Bob Davis, my mentor, started that company and he hired me on. And I ended up doing software for Apple under contract for the original Mac, for the 1984 Mac. So my one claim to fame is I wrote some of the software that was in the original Macintosh. Great product. People would think that that's kind of a pinnacle of my career. Then I went on and did some consulting work at Hewlett Packard on the HP 9000. HP 9000, if you don't understand the history of computing architectures, it was the very first commercial computing platform built on a RISC processor, reduced instruction set computing. The RISC processors were a big breakthrough. A lot of that work came out of HP Labs. And the HP 9000 was the very first product. Similar company, I went to work and became president of a company called Teraplex. And that became the first computing architecture built around MISC, or minimal instruction set computing. And it was a supercomputer, massively parallel supercomputer. And it was a spin out of the University of Illinois. Then I went to Thumbscan, biometric security, high-speed pattern recognition. So a lot of optics and being able to gather images of fingerprints and analyze them and match them and identify that person very, very quickly. And then I went on to do a product called Imagine for Telligent, where I was one of the 5 founders. And it was the very first web-based online billing platform, right? So the first time you've ever been able to put a bill up on an online site and to actually take payment for that. So training, operating systems, microprocessor design, supercomputers, biometrics, image processing, telecom. All of those industries, right? And all the products I listed here, all were award-winning products, right? And now look, you may look at me and say, well, look, Phil, you were CTO at Hewlett Packard. You're special. I'm not special. I am not special. One is don't think I did these all by myself, right? It was about having the right mix of people. As I progressed through my career, I learned that one of the most important skills I could ever build up was picking the right people, getting the right people bought in to these ideas that I had. And look, I'm still working on ideas. I'm working on ideas every day. Now, the reality is that, human creativity is not unlimited resources. You only get so many ideas. Don't use them all up. That is not the case. I'm not special. So how do I do it? How did I do this across my entire career? What is it you can apply to your own career? Well, it's fundamentally a two-step process that I use. The first step is whatever ideas I have, I share. I either execute it, I decide that that's one I'm going to execute. If it's not one I can get to, I'm not going to hoard it. I share it. I give it away. I share it on the show. I share it in my blog. I tweet about it, tweet ideas that I've come across. I'm either going to execute it, I'm going to share it, I'm going to give it away. I want to make sure that the ideas, so when I'm going through my ideas, I put them into buckets. These are the ideas that I am going to execute on. These are the ones I'm going to share, meaning I may get myself a little bit of protection, maybe hold some rights back to it, but share it with others so that they can execute it. Or I'm just going to give it away, just public. Boom, it's out there. And another person who does that is Elon. If you think about it, look, Elon, Tesla. Well, now he didn't start Tesla. Tesla was started by two other individuals. He was just the lead investor and then took over the company. SpaceX. He was at PayPal. All of these things, right? But think about Hyperloop. He came up with Hyperloop, but he had all these other things. Tesla was in the middle of a few challenges. SpaceX was ready to send off its first rockets to actually connect with the International Space Station. So what did he do with Hyperloop? He just talked about it. He shared it. He said, here, I got this really crazy idea. Here's the constraints. Here's what here's how I think it should operate, et cetera. Boom. We saw an explosion of Hyperloop companies all of a sudden, get birthed just from an idea that Elon had and that he shared. And one is you want to see your ideas become fruition, right? You don't want them to stay just in a dusty old notebook and not have a positive impact on people's lives. But you may inspire others. You may inspire others that take your idea and do something great with it. Now, if you're worried about, well, if I give that idea away and they're going to make all that money and what am I going to get? If your motivation for innovation is purely money, then, you got the wrong motivation. Let me tell you. My opinion and my perspective on what I have learned is that if I do innovation for the right reason, the rewards come back, the recognition comes back. People acknowledge, where did that idea come from? Who provided that idea? So from that standpoint, hoarding and trying to say, I got to protect it just doesn't work. So again, step one, whatever I have, give it away, share it. Right. And then the second step is when you've given them all away, right, then you've made room for more. Necessity is the mother of creation. When you've given away all of your ideas and people are off executing those ideas and you've got the one or two that you're executing on, what happens? Your brain's going to say, your creativity's going to say, oh, I need to come up with some more ideas. And what do? You come up with more ideas. Your creativity will fill the vacuum that you make by giving away and sharing your ideas. You will tap into that unlimited resource of generating more and more ideas. So when you have given away the ideas, when you've left that empty space of the ideas that you are executing or that you shared, that you're giving away, your creativity will fill that void. You will come up with more ideas. And in fact, what I have found is early on, what I thought was a really, really great idea was a good idea, but I wouldn't say like it was game-changing. But when I give away all my ideas, and therefore I've created this vacuum and my creativity kicks in and I'm filling in more and more ideas, it's kind of like exercise, right? First time you exercise, you get a little bit of muscle, you do a little more exercise, you get a bigger muscles, you do even more exercise, you get bigger muscle. That's what happens. Your early ideas that you think are great, they're good. But as you give those away, the next set of ideas are even better than that idea. Give those away. Even the third time around, those ideas are even better than the first two cycles. You're actually building yourself up to produce more and even better and bigger impact of ideas. So again, very simple two-step process. One, give all your ideas away. Give them away. share. Execute, share, or give away. Execute, you're going to keep them. You're doing it. You got your team. Off you go. Share is you share them with others, and maybe you keep some involvement with it, maybe an advisory role or whatever, but somebody else is driving it. Third is just give it away. Just make it public and say, hey, wouldn't this be really some kind of crazy thing? You think, and let people run with it. The more you give away, the more empty space you create in your own creativity, more ideas you'll generate. And you'll find that untapped resource of just more and more ideas. So just repeat it. Step one, give it away. When you give it away, you make up free space, fill in those innovations, use your creativity to create more ideas. Go back to step one, give it away. Step two, generate more ideas. Step one, give them away. Step two, generate even more ideas. It's a never-ending cycle. And the more you give away, the more you share, the more you can execute, the more space you give your subconscious to create even more and better ideas. Now, you're asking, is it really that simple? Is it really that simple? Yes, it is. It is actually that simple. And it is motivating beyond belief. Once you've experienced that buzz you get when an idea you've had becomes a successful product or service, then let me tell you, it is an unbelievable buzz. When I developed a product called PC Boot, and it won Security Product of the Year at Comdex. So the big trade show. Comdex was bigger than CES. So Comdex, Las Vegas, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people are at the show, biggest trade show at the time in anywhere in the world. And a product that I built by myself for a company called Thumbscan wins Security Product of the Year, and I go across stage to accept that award. Let me tell you, the buzz, the excitement, the thrill of talking to people who had used that product, who loved that product, who just were thrilled with that product. It solved a number of issues of security and securing this new thing called a PC. And in fact, if we ever have a chance, I'll shoot a video, but if you're ever in Colorado and we can meet up and I can show you right behind here, outside the studio, is the award that I got at Comdex that year for Product of the Year. And it was sponsored by PC World Magazine back in the day. Let me tell you, once you have that buzz and that excitement, you want to repeat it. You want to do it again. You want to experience it again, and you will fight to have that experience again. Now, the fear is that once I've had it, then I'm on a downhill slope. That's it. I've done it. I've achieved it. Rang the bell. I'm done. No. Your creativity is an untapped, unlimited resource. It's a bottomless pit. There is no bottom. You will never dig through all the way to the bottom of your creativity. But you do need to make room for it. So all the other ideas that you've got, that you've collected, find the ones you're going to execute, share or give away the others that you just don't have the bandwidth. Remember, Elon did that with Hyperloop. What have you done with any of the ideas that you have in your idea notebooks? You do not need to be afraid of running out of ideas. You will never run out of ideas. And thank goodness. You know why? Because the world is never going to run out of problems that need to be solved. So what's the first thing you're going to do following listening to that episode? Hopefully you're going to go out and find those ideas that you've got in your notebook. You can't execute them all. Those that you are not going to execute, share or give away, make public. Go out there and share them. One way you can share those is, or if you want to give ideas away, or spark or inspire others to take maybe some nugget of an idea that you've got and do something with it, is to go over to the innovators community. So that is theinnovators.community. So that's a free community. There's no charge for it. You can join that community. It's a community made up of other innovators. If you want to share and put together a team and maybe empower them to go execute, but you want to stay involved in it, that's sharing. So you can do that, or you can just publish it and give it away. But that's a community that you can do that. It's fairly safe. There's no legal structure around it, but it's been a great community. It's where I hang out. A number of innovators that I've become friends with are all hanging out over there. So go check that out. Theinnovators.community. But the key is that if you hoard your ideas, you're clogging yourself up. You're not giving yourself the room to come up with more ideas, more and even better ideas than what you think is your top idea today. So check that out. Can I ask one favor? Can you help me pay it forward? We started this podcast back in 2005 at the request or suggestion or encouragement, however you want to view it, from my mentor, Bob Davis. When I asked him how I could pay him back, he laughed. He says, "You can't pay it back. You got to pay it forward." And so I started the podcast as a way to pay it forward, to share with you my experiences, my expertise, and my Rolodex, people that I know that I've had come onto the show and share what it is they do, that you can learn from them. So if you enjoy the content, you enjoy the regular show, help me out by sharing it with others. Help me pay it forward. Help by making people aware of the show that could benefit from hearing this, and and maybe every once in a while get a little kick in the pants to use that creativity for good. Create great, game-changing, life-changing, world-changing innovations. As always, I'm going to ask for help on topics and guests. If you've got topics or guests that you've come across, that you've heard, or you've read an article that you think would be really interesting, if you could, if we could dig in maybe a little bit more on some part of their story that's innovation related, let me know. Just drop an email over at phil@killerinnovations.com, or you can go fill out the form over at killerinnovations.com. And just drop me a note. We'll add them to the list, and we'll be, we'll check those out. And with that, I'm going to thank you for your time. Your most valuable resource you have is your time, and you choose to give that to us, and we greatly, greatly appreciate it, and we want to treat it properly. So when we're done, we're done. So again, thank you for your time. We'll be back next week. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Podcasting nonstop since 2005, this has been the Killer Innovation Show on the Innovators Network.